My EGR valve is 10 years old and never been cleaned, and I've lost a little bit of power, especially on hills, so let's do it. On our last trip, we noticed that we could hardly go more than 50 miles per hour on hills, and so we're going to clean our EGR valve, which is basically this body of this right here. So the tools that I've collected for that that I'm going to use are different sizes of toothbrushes to clean. I even have a little pipe cleaner brush, Scotch Brite pads, and I cut a little strip, so I'll have a smaller strip and a larger strip. This is 1/4 inch 8mm socket. I ordered a new EGR valve gasket, rubber gloves, paper towel, and I've got a variety of pry tools over here in case, you know, it's hard to get out. And I also need a small screwdriver, which I'll go get that so I can unclip this wiring, this little wire connector. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and unclip this little wire connector. It basically just pulls back. You saw it pull back. That's closed and that's open. And then you just wiggle off the connector. There you have it. Okay, now then we're just gonna push this out of the way underneath that coolant hose. Now you don't have to disconnect your coolant hoses, but if you wanted to, you just take a pair of pliers and pinch that, and then that's the connector, and you can pull your hoses off. But I'm not going to do that. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to get this oil neck out of the way, and you take that screw out and then you just simply twist it. I'm going to put the screw back in so I don't lose it. Okay, so that's out of the way. Now, then we have 4 nuts. Now, these are star-shaped nuts, but I'm using a 12.8mm. I think a 6.8mm would work just as well. So we want to go around and just break loose each connector. There's 4. And then start removing them. I just like to loosen them pretty good before I really take them out, so there's no tension anywhere. And then you can just simply twist them out. So I'll go ahead and get these out of here, and then we'll come back. So you can see this is blocking my head from coming out, so I do have to go. Let's see if that'll work. Took it out. Okay, so then you take a large ball peen hammer like this and hit it a few times right underneath on this square part. And then check to see if you've got, yeah, see now I can get my spatula under there, which I couldn't do that before. And I can, I can get it under there. Okay, so now we'll take 2 screwdrivers, one on each side, and wiggle it until we start to get the whole body to lift off. Okay, I've got my screwdriver over here basically on the opposite corner, closer to the bolt hole next to the oil filter neck. And then I've got this screwdriver here, and you just are going to pry it, just wiggle it. Let me get a bigger screwdriver. You just keep wiggling it little by little until you get it loose enough to pull off. So we will keep wiggling it and come back. Okay, there's also a temperature sensor. It's connected right here, and it runs just behind, very close on this valve body. So you have to make sure you're not, getting your screwdriver in between it. And like I said, you just keep wiggling until you can get it to come loose, which it should be very close. There. And there you have it. Okay. So now, I'm going to twist this neck further out. Okay. All right, so I'm going to remove this old dirty gasket. I'm going to take this paper towel. I'm going to crumple it up, and I'm going to cover my hole so nothing gets down in there. Now, this is the end of our EGR valve. And what happens is this thing is supposed to freely snap open and snap closed like a valve. So let's see how snappy it is. And it's sluggish. See, it's not really moving very fast. It should be very quick to snap right back. So what's happening is all this carbon is keeping this valve from opening and closing like it's supposed to. So now we are going to take some cleaner and we're going to clean this all up. But first I have to prepare this area because the cleaner is very messy. So I'll do that and come back and show you. Okay, I'm going to use a little compressed air. I actually put the cap back on the oil because I don't want any dirt getting down in my oil pan, but I want to clean this area. So I just want to spray some of this compressed air around to get the major dirt. Get the major dirt out of the area. There, that'll be a lot cleaner. Okay, so yeah, put that cap on there, seal it down before you do anything to try to clean it or work in the area, because You don't want any dirt and debris to get down to your oil pan. All right, so now I'm just pulling this plastic bag, this plastic bag around, well, it's a plastic sheet around all this, because I don't want my cleaning fluid to make a huge mess. So I'll do that and come back. Okay, now what I'm going to be using to clean this EGR valve is this stuff called Instant Gum Cutter. It's supposed to be really, really good. It's by Bile. I got it off Amazon. I'll put a link in the description, but it's supposed to be a lot better than just plain old carburetor, normal, carburetor cleaner or parts cleaner. So we'll try it and see. I do want to remind people that this is a 2014 Mercedes Sprinter. So, this hasn't been removed or cleaned in 10 years. And we have almost 70,000 miles on it. So it's something that people should do. Okay, so we are just going to simply, now I put a towel down here because this is going to be a lot of liquid and I want it to catch it. But basically we're just going to take this and spray the crap out of it. And then I'm going to take a toothbrush and I'm going to clean it. All right, so first use a toothbrush and just scrub around and scrub and spray. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're just gonna, I'm gonna do that. So I'm just basically gonna go around and you just want to scrub all the carbon, as much of the carbon as you can, and just keep scrubbing and spraying until it starts to get nice and shiny looking. So we'll keep doing that and come back. Okay, now the next thing you want to do is you want to get around the edges and the inside of each opening so you can have as smooth a movement as possible. So you have to hold this open at the same time that you scrub. So I'm just going to use this Scotch bright pad and clean up all these little openings. So I'll do that all around and come back and show you what it looks like. All right, so I've got that cleaned nicely. All nice and shiny, and it is now springing much better. Okay, so now I'm going to use my Scotch Brite pad. I'm going to clean up my mating surfaces for my new gasket, and then also I'm going to take this and I'm going to clean up clean all the corrosion, or the basically oxidation and carbon on this, and get it all nice and shiny and smooth. So I'll do that and come back. Alright, so I've got this all clean now. You can see it's way cleaner than it was. Alright, so now you can see that temperature sensor a lot better. So you just have to be careful when you're working in this back area, not to interfere with that temperature sensor. Okay, so the last thing I want to do is I want to take my Scotch-Brite pad and I want to clean up the mating surface for the gasket on this side. And I'm going to take my pad and run it in there and smooth that out so this slides smoothly back down in the hole. And then we'll be able to put it back together. So I'll do that and come back. Okay, so I've got this all cleared out. Nice and clean. That was the air, my air, compressed air, by the way. All right, so that's all nice. Now it's time for us to go put it all back together. All right, here is the gasket part number. There's the part number. I bought it off of eBay. I can put the link to the one I bought. And so now we're going to put it back on. There's a little raised area, but basically this only goes one way. So in this case, this has an EK stamped on it, so it's going to go up this way. And you can see it only fits one way on here. You know, so there's no other orientation that you can do. So the raised area goes up against the body. And I forgot to mention that I did get this from eBay, and it was about $8. So now you hold your gasket on, and as you can see, there's a shape on the gasket, and that's for the threads to go through from the bolt and hold it in place. So you go ahead and you thread on all 4 bolts. And that keeps your gasket in place while you drop it back down. Okay, now I'm just checking that my temperature sensor, nothing is impeding that. Its little wire is fine. So now I will go ahead and start tightening it. Okay, so I'll just start snugging these down. And you want to do them opposite from each other. In fact, I'll just go like this. So you basically just want to start snugging it down little by little. And you want to jump around so you make sure it goes down evenly. So I'll do that and come back just when I'm getting ready to tighten it. All right, so now we're at the point where we're going to tighten it down. So I'm going to basically get it snug. Each nut snug. And you don't want to gorilla tighten this or anything. You just want to basically compress the gasket. So you just want to get it, you know, just little, you know, keep going around and tightening it. Every time you go around, it'll get down further and further until you'll get to the point where you actually see that it's tight, which we're not there yet. We're almost there. Okay, so I'm just making sure they're just a little tight, you know, just snugly tight, not gorilla tight, just, you know, nice and tight. Okay, so that is one last check. And they're all nice and tight. Okay, so then I find my little connector, make sure there's nothing in it, push that snugly back into place. You want to hear, and you want to push that little tab in. You heard it click. Okay, so now that's nice and tight. Okay, and then lastly, we'll put our filler neck back on. Okay. Okay, so I took a paper towel and I rubbed around the edge of this. There was all kinds of dirt and, you know, pollen and all kinds of stuff. And I wiped the inside ring of this off as well. So now, we just need to make sure we get this back on correctly. So basically you want to drop that cross piece in that cross opening and make sure it fits on nice and tight, and then turn it. You want to make sure that it's all on there nice and tight. And then we can tighten this back up. Again, it doesn't need to be gorilla tight or anything. It just needs to be nice and snug tight. Okay, so now that's all back together, and our EGR valve is, oh, I took that hose. Make sure you get your hose clipped back in there. Okay, so everything is back where it's supposed to be. I will put in the description how it does in terms of performance when we get back out on the hills again. That's it. Okay, we are going to go ahead and start it up. Oh yeah, it's definitely running better. It was making a funny uneven sound. So this is definitely running much better. So I think we've solved our problem. But you know, I'll, as I said, I'll update the description so I tell you, you know, exactly how the performance has improved.